Hey, my name is Mira and I am here today to tell you what I think about D.W. Jackson's Inexperienced Mage. First, I would like to give a little background on the author's life, so you know some of the reasons of him starting to write novels, and probably some of the things that influenced him in his writing style. D.W. Jackson was born in Oklahoma and attended two universities. As soon as he finished high school, he joined the Oklahoma National Guard, and in 2003 he was sent along with 5 others from his unit to Iraq. In 2009, he took a job as a correctional officer for the state of Oklahoma, where he worked at both a medium and a minimal security level prison. In 2012, his health declined, unfortunately, and he was unable to continue working. So, having a lot of free time on his hands, he decided to pursue his dream of being a writer. And it all started with Inexperienced Mage, the first book from the 6-novel series, The Reawakening Saga. It also being the first book he wrote, I believe it is kind of like a sneak peek into the author's future career, and I think it contours the path the author is going to walk on in his development. So that's why I decided to review Inexperienced Mage and no other book. Now, don't get me started on how great I felt while reading this book. It's not only for the fantasy lovers, but for about anyone who likes Bildung's romance. I started to read the preview and I was immediately hooked. I felt like discovering a whole new world out of which I could never get enough of. To tell you a little bit about the book's storyline, it starts like this. 14,000 years after the Fey Wars, magic is now a thing of legend, and the once great empire is reduced to hundreds of separate countries. In Farland, a queendom, a world where women rule and where men are treated as second-class citizens, mothers have the opportunity of giving their sons into a school where they are trained from an early age how to become slaves. The author portrays the life of Mike, the most sought-after slave in this school, who met his mom for the first time at the age of 14, just before the auction. Yes, auction. You know, like they do with antique furniture and memorabilia and stuff. Yep. So, his mother came to visit her son, whom she missed so much. No, she only came to see if her initial decision was really going to pay off after the auction. Yep, that's a caring mother for you. Anyway, the auction takes place and the boy is bought by the beautiful queen as a means of becoming her daughter's bodyguard. But there's a spin-off. Yeah, in the first 20 pages of the book, there is a spin-off. On his way to the palace, he manages to escape the royal carriage he was in and run into the deep forest where he could avoid being branded forever, and therefore escaping the fate of being a slave. During this escape, he comes across a dilapidated tower and finds a book of magic and starts his own self-tutelage. Learning he has a talent for magic, he makes his way to the capital to see if he can make his own path while holding on to his freedom along the way. And that's all I can say. You know, after reading this preview, I was already so into the plot and already so curious that I couldn't stop reading. And the thing is, the book made me feel so many things. From the beginning to the end, I was emotionally implicated in all the things that were being narrated. The book has only about 200 pages and therefore it was an easy read. And you know, it's most interesting how nice the storytelling is in such a thin book. It's fast-paced and straightforward, which is nice, and don't get bogged down on a lot of unnecessary details. Still, some phrases added here and there would have made the action more clear, but I'm really satisfied with how it all turned out. It's a very good book in my opinion. I really enjoyed the story and found the idea of men being treated as second-class citizens and sold into slavery an interesting idea, and I think it flows best if you go into it with an open mind. you know, while reading this book, I never encountered something already known. Like, you know, there are those books that when you read them, there are parts you've read in other books. That kind of sucks. But don't be worried, you won't encounter such things in this book. No, the author has an original way of looking at things, and he does interpretations of real-life situations in the magical world in a very unique way. Hence, the possibility of reading this book even if you don't like fantasy. In the end, I read it so quickly, I was finished before I even realized it. It was such a fun read, it made me become impatient to read the sequel. But, you know, like it happens with almost every book, there are some ups and downs with it. I consider the characters as being very likable, but not deep enough. Also, it seems that sometimes Jackson forgets that his protagonist is only 14 years old. This boy gets constantly hit on by older women, and that seems fine. If it were a 14-year-old girl, then it would have seemed creepy. Now, other than that, I think the book is great, with some really great magic scenes and cool descriptions, though something peculiar happened. I saw some comments on some websites about the poor editing of the book, and I decided to dig into this a little bit more, and I found out that the first edition of the book is not professionally edited, but luckily enough I read the Kindle edited version first, so I recommend you do so too, so you have no problem on focusing on the action and not on the rare but bugging mistakes here and there. In conclusion, the author is really imaginative, and he managed to create a veridical, fantastic, epic universe with tons of potential. I really hope Jackson succeeds and becomes more and more popular because he truly deserves it. Overall, he did a great job, and I really recommend reading this book as it won't let you down. Moreover, it will make you want to read more in order to find out what Mike's life will turn out after going through several difficult situations. Okay, I think that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to read this book when you have time to. Okay, thanks, bye.